Alright, Mulin Dumilang Abshini and welcome to YouDubs. Let's talk and as per usual, we bring you guys the latest and the most trending topics on campus. Now, sitting with me today, the topic that we're going to be discussing is the annual general meeting. And sitting with me today, we have two SRC members. We have Ubongani and Uhaika. So they're going to be giving their own 2 cents on the view and what happened, and giving us clarity on some certain matters that we might need to know. How are you guys doing? Thank you guys so much for joining us today.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so as per the SRC Constitution, the annual general meeting was supposed to sit on the 6th of September, but that didn't happen. Please just give us clarity on the reason behind it.
Okay, thanks, Nkashlan. Understanding that the SRC is a structure that is binded by a document, which is our guiding document, which is the SRC Constitution. We as student body, especially students, we have to make sure that the document itself is serving the student, is student-centered document. Now, what do we mean about that? We mean that in order for us to properly implement that particular document, it must serve the interest of students. Now we can see what is happening across the country, not only in higher institutions of learning, including UWC. The gender-based violence issues, the femicide issues. So we as the SRC, we saw it fit that we can never normalize the abnormal situation. How do we sit at AGM while there is a burning issue that is already transpiring across the campus? Those are one of the concerns that also came to students that will be seen as opportunistic, because even the management will never take it serious because they know that it's business as usual. That's why we make sure that we do destabilize what they always believe in, which is their guiding document, to make sure that we do attend the issue of gender-based violence and the policy itself. Because the policy of the university, which was adopted in 2016, is still anti-woman, anti-black, especially anti-poor. Because most of these students were affected in UWC, not only UWC, in CPUT, you can go across the country. So we have to make sure, as the SRC, that we do take a stance will make sure that, and second the management, that the SRC did not sit its AGM because of these reasons, and also what were non-accountability, not only from the SRC, but also the management must account to the students. Those are one of the reasons that we postponed the AGM.
Is there anything that you'd like to add?
Definitely. Our constitution says that we need to sit an AGM in the third term, correct? May I add, we were not all informed, and it was not discussed amongst the SRC that we are not going to sit the AGM. We got an email communicating to us that there was no AGM sitting on the 6th of September and that it is postponed until further notice. Mind you, the Constitution also says we need 2 weeks in advance notice to students. 2 weeks, it's sitting this week, it's sitting on Wednesday. Students did not have 2 weeks notice, and you can't argue with me on that, Bongani, because that is a fact. So with regards to the Constitution saying that we need to sit an AGM, don't you think, even though we as an SRC have differences, which has been known to students and management of UWC, before a decision is made as to postpone our AGM that was supposed to sit on the 6th of September, shouldn't we as an SRC have sitting together and discussed the things before we are thrown in the deep end and not having answers when students ask us? And I personally feel like that was a miscommunication amongst the SRC before anything. We just got the communication, the email stating AGM is postponed.
Is there a response to that?
Thank you, Haik. Understanding that, Haik, we as the SRC were also under Student Development Services. The email that was sent long time to Mr. Mtepa's office, ceasing Mr. Ngati Kayama Popeni to say that we want an AGM prior to the events of anti-women with this patriarchal society. It was there, the email. The email also, this can be confirmed by Mr. Mtepa, which is the liaison officer of the SR, between the SRCs and SDS. The email has been there 10 days before, it was there. The email was not released to UWC community because the SRC do not have the leverage of making sure that we are the one who are releasing. It has to be approved by the SDS office. So the email was never approved. And when we made the follow-up, I've been making many follow-ups to Mr. Mtepa, why we are not sending the community to UWC community? Because we as the SRC want to make sure that we do usher in our constitutional mandate to our students. So those are one of the things. Secondly, another thing, a communication for all SRC members, which were also CC'd by Mr. Mtepa, saying that the AGM was supposed to be sitting on the 6th of September. Everyone was aware of that. Yes. And then my respondents was also direct to each and every SRC member. I replied to everyone there, to Mr. Mtepa. Now, I can never be scapegoated to take the job of SDS. It must be the SDS to implement their own job. I can't speak on his behalf because I'm not a management. He has to speak an account to you and also to ask him why you did not communicate to us. Because that is one of the things that when he sent the email to us, he said that dear SGM president, sent to two of us. It did not say that all SRC members on the second email. And then we responded to the email that was sent to us. It is his own duty to make sure that as we liaise also amongst us, we must also liaise.
You're not getting what I'm saying. My thing is, at the end of the day, it is your duty as per the Constitution to inform other SRC members, because that is the job of the secretary. We can't go, and we were told already, we cannot go beyond our protocol. We can't go straight, if we have an issue, go straight to Prof. Dube or Mr. Ndepa. It is your duty. You are our link between management and the SRC.
Right.
So if there's no communication, how are we supposed to be aware of what's going on?
Right.
And that's my issue.
Just to cut short the dialogue, now that we're heading to the AGM, obviously the SRC will be reporting on the matters in the state of the campus. On your own personal views, what is the state of the campus currently?
If I may I?
Yes.
With regards to how campus looks at the moment, campus is chaotic. There's no surety, there's no certainty on what is going on, how the students feel about certain things. Everyone is under speculation. Everyone is up in arms because everyone is upset about the rapes, the murders, everything that's going on. The students feel unsafe. So how are we as an SRC supposed to address students who might not even listen to us because of their own emotions and how they feel about certain things, because they feel like we failed them, because we do not communicate with them. So sitting with AGM on Wednesday, I personally feel like we are going to be under attack because students are unhappy. That is my opinion. That's how I feel. And I'm not going to lie, I fear sitting in AGM because I can't give them an honest report on everything because I do not know everything.
Thanks,
You,
Mr. It's good whereby people are bringing their own perspective, you see, knowing that it is assumptions, not something that is happening or something that will transpire. That's why we are honoring this country because it's democratic. By the way, I was not there. What I'm saying is that if you can see the state of campus currently, the burning issue is not only UWC issues, I've said, it is a national issue. Something that also we as the SRC make sure that we do put pressure to the management to bring proper safety policies. See, those policies that will save the students. Because I cannot say that and lie to students and say that I myself will bring the police. I'm not writing the police. But I make sure that we do usher in the mandate of students so that the policy is being drafted among students. So going to that AGM, it is very pivotal. Number two, we're excited to go to students and speak because we can never lead students and be scared of the same people that we're leading. You see, those are people who elected us to lead them. You see, yes, we're not perfect, but we delivered. I can count many things. You see, things that were never done prior our SRC and UWC. Today they are transpiring. You see. So that's why we are saying that going to the SRC HM is to present our reports, the presidential report, the secretariat report, and the treasurer report, and also in liaising with our own program of action of the SRC and also of the money because we're deployed there. We can't run away from that. We're not only SRC, we're deployed by organizations. The mandate and the tune that we're singing prior to the office. The tune, did we address, for example, they'll ask us about the issue of allowances, they'll ask us about the issue of work study, they'll ask us about the 5 million of South Pole. We have to account, where did the money come from? It's we are going to account and break down why did those students go back without paying the shortfall. You see, those are one of the things, and also what have we done to a constitutional review? You see, each and everything, but I can't account it because there's an AGM that is coming.
If I might add, the uncertainty among students, how can you say that you don't fear that? Because if we as an SRC are uncertain in certain aspects, not knowing how we are going to address everything and which way students are going to come at with us, are you going to tell me that you are certain in everything that we have accomplished, allegedly accomplished, that we can tell the students, look here, this is it, end of story, point blank. But if they throw us with a curveball and we do not have an answer, they're either going to say we are lying, we are illiterate, and we do not know what our duty is. So in that uncertainty, how are we supposed to address that? Don't you fear that? Don't you feel that you are going to sit amongst the body of students and tell them that you are scared because you don't know the answer? How are you supposed to address that?
Yes, thanks, Aikne. We can't run away from the fact that we as SRC members and also students are not the same. There are those who are scared of addressing and speaking to the masses. There are those who can stand for the pressure. Because we can't summarize what students are going to ask. We have to be there. If you don't have other answers, I can brief you after this. Whatever I want to ask, I can brief you. Or we can go to the SRC office, we brief one another as to what you must expect and what you must not expect. But even I myself, you see, I'm not a sangom. I can't say that I expect Tapelo to ask me this particular question. But the most important thing is to, what have you done, the POA? What have we done?
No, I understand where you're
it's one of the things that I can make sure that if we have answered it, we can brief you, you see. That's why we're saying we're fit enough to go to the AGM, and we're more than ready to make sure that we go to the AGM.
Okay, so there have been posts on Facebook where students are saying that the SRC is not respecting the Constitution and that there's constitutional delinquency. What is your take on that? Do you guys feel that in your term of office that you guys respected the Constitution from the start till now?
In my personal opinion, I do not think fully. We have not set SRC meetings as per Constitution, as the Constitution stipulates within every 6 weeks we're supposed to sit. We do not. That is true. We did try to arrange meetings. Email stated, and you can contest me on that if you feel the need. But I know for a fact that we haven't sat as often as we're supposed to. And the Constitution tells us that we are supposed to sit and discuss things. But I mean, if we as an SRC haven't sat, how are we supposed to address students coming up in this AGM?
Thanks.
In response?
Thanks, Michelle. I think we must also not exaggerate things. You see, exaggeration is very dangerous. Now, what we are saying is that, according to the Constitution of the SRC, you see, for example, I can make one example. Here there was an issue of allowances that did not go through. And then we're supposed to sit a meeting. We make sure we're going to postpone a meeting and make sure students get their allowances. That's, if it needs me to be a constitutional delinquent or that, we agree, we're proud. As long as students benefited from our actions. That's number one. Secondly, SRC meetings, you see, and SRC constitution, you see, the constitution itself, it is flawed. In other cases, if it does not speak to your aspirations, how do you make sure that you embrace something that does not speak to the aspirations? If the constitution was perfect, then we're not going to have what we call safety problems. We're not going to have differences among different political structures. We're not going to have a policy that is fraught of sexual violence. Well, this was going to be a campus that is conducive for each and every student. That itself, you can see students are not happy, as Hege have said, you yourself, they're not happy. You see? So we must also blame the guiding document, not all of the SRC, but it's also guiding each and everyone, because that's a body. You see? It's not only saying that it is perfect, not perfect. So by the virtue of sitting those whatever meetings each and every day, will it solve the issue of students? The police, the gender-based police, sexual violence police, will it solve it? Did it solve it, by the way? We did a meeting. It did not solve it. That's why we make sure that what we do is that we go direct to where the elephant is, which is SDS. The people that can solve these problems. Till now we can talk and talk and talk here, but all what we want is solutions, don't want theory, want praxis. That's what was transpiring to this SRC. And also, we must not treat like the SRC, the hemisphere was conducive. No. This was a mixed SRC. We can't run away from that. And knowing that historically, when there is what we call collusion, there will be those gaps. So that's why I'm also saying that some SRC members, they are just opportunists. They just come here and ask, we didn't do this. Where were you then? What did you do as an SRC member? Thank you.
Right, so guys, it's a wrap. We had it from both our SRC members. It was very different views, but it was a true. Thank you guys so much for joining us today. We enjoyed the engagement. And please don't go anywhere. Please stay in for more. We still have more after the break. Right guys, it's still in the and we're still on the topic of the annual general meeting, and sitting with me today here is Usens representing Usasco and Usihi representing Opasma. Now they're going to add their own 2 cents into the view and tell us what they think of this whole thing and give us clarity on some matters that we might need to know. Thank you guys, gentlemen, thank you guys so much for joining us today. How are you guys doing?
No, we're fine, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so we know that the annual general meeting was postponed. What is your view on that? What first came to your mind when you heard that the AGM was postponed? Let's start with you.
Okay. It came as a shock, but at the same time, it's something that we've always expected. Because in our view, the SRC does not comply with its with the Constitution. So what came to our mind was that, oh well, they've done it again, running away from accounting. Yeah.
And for you, Sisha?
I think, first of all, our judgment towards the postponement of the AGM, it should be based on the reasons that were given by the SRC for the postponement. The reasons were outlined by the SRC, particularly on the email that was sent to students, that the reason for the postponement, it was due to gender-based violence. And all of us as students were here in campus, we saw the turmoil, that the space was not conducive to have an AGM. So the reasons that were given by the SRC, they are correct. And if we want to be labeled as constitutional delinquents because of correctly observing the needs and aspirations of students, let it be. The reasons that were given by the SRC, they are correct. Yes.
Okay, so now that we're heading to the annual general meeting, the SRC is obviously going to give us a state, like the state of the campus. What do you guys think in your own personal perspective? Like, what is the state of the campus currently?
All right. First of all, I think I need to clarify the reasoning part before I answer that question. Okay. It is disingenuous for the SRC to say to come a day before. Or in fact, it was on the day of when SRC was supposed to say no. It's because there's a gender-based violence crisis. The Constitution explicitly stated that there must be a communication prior 14 days. So for them to arrive at that conclusion, they would have wanted to provide us with an email to say, no, we have called it, but we can't see it because there's this matter we need to resolve now. So there was no communication. You can't communicate on the day to say, come, let's vote in AGM. It's unconstitutional. So yeah, but going to the AGM, we feel like there's nothing to report because the SRC only had batches, 2 batches. There was no program. I don't even believe there's a POA. So they've wasted student resources. They've went to an AGM, strategic planning that did not bring any outcome. That's all. There's nothing to report. They're just going to tell us that they wasted the money. And students are going to see what they really are.
And in your group?
There's one thing that we need to be honest about, is that currently to speak, we are in an election fever. So political organizations, they want to gain cheap political scores by masquerading as constitutional worshippers, that is what is currently happening now. Hence I said earlier that the reason why the AGM was postponed, it was due to the effect of gender-based violence. And we saw the environment here on campus was very volatile, particularly for female students. So hence the AGM was postponed. But in going to the current to speak, as you can see now, people are trying to normalize the situation here on campus. The business is going as usual. People are attending classes. Others are preparing for the exams. But deep down, you could see that students they are not normal. They are behaving normal in an abnormal situation. So we encourage students, whatever grievance that they have, they should go to the SRC office, outline their grievances. And also, there's one thing also that I want to point out, is that the people that were elected on the SRC, they are like volunteers. They are not getting any stipend even from the institute itself. So at some point they should be respected because they are giving their time serving students. They are not getting paid. So at some point we need not to be over-critical on them, but rather we should support them. If we have any grievance, go to the SRC office, it's always open. Otherwise, throughout this year, as we have seen, we've done a historic thing by giving students monthly allowance. It's very historic. Students of UWC, they've been going hungry. But the SRC of this year, they have championed that struggle of monthly allowances. We are going to continue championing students' struggle. This will it.
Okay, so now on the topic of constitutional delinquency, what is your view on that? Do you think that in the SRC's term of office, did they respect the Constitution?
I think the term constitutional delinquency is an understatement. If there was a term beyond that, we would have named them, because the SRC have no regard for the Constitution. The first thing, before the issue of AGM, by the way, it's the last issue that they have to abide to. they must call a GC, they must constitute a GC. A GC is a council where affiliate structures meet, and the SRC accounts with the GC before it calls a student body mass meeting. So first, there was no GC in this term of office. Now they want to come and claim that no, the AGM did not sit because of gender-based violence. It's not true, because on the ground, they're not there. Students are mobilizing themselves, and they're scared because the university is going to victimize students who are leaving themselves when there's no SRC. Even today, students are supposed to meet, but the SRC is not there. During VEC, students were meeting, the SRC was not there. Before VEC, the students were gathering themselves, the SRC was not there. We have to force them. Please, President, come and speak on our behalf. Please, SG, come and speak on our behalf. They're not there, they're not initiating the problem. So the SRC are more than constitutional delinquents.
Okay, I'm sorry to cut you short. Your view?
Again, as I said earlier, people are using this environment to gain cheap political scores, masquerading as constitutional worshippers. Last year, as he outlined that the GC constitutes of the affiliated structures. Affiliated structures were called last year to attend the meeting. There was no one to be there. And also, for that fact, according to the Constitution, the affiliated structures, they are supposed to report to the SRC about the activities that they have done throughout the year. But there is no one structure that has done that except PASMA. That is a fact. So these people, they must not masquerade as constitutional worshippers, whereas they are defying the same constitution that they are saying that they are upholding. So let us not be selective when it suits us. So I'm saying this again, if it needs to be that by siding with students, by associating ourselves being an aspirational students, we are going to be labeled as constitutional delinquents, let it be.
Right, guys, don't go anywhere. That was heated, but we still have more. Thank you guys so much. This was Senzo representing SASCO and Usihle representing IASMA. Please make sure that you don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Right, guys, we're back at it. I'm joined by Uzano representing EFSSC and Uznik representing YouDubs. So we're still on the topic of the AGM, and they're going to put in their own 2 cents and hear what they have to say about the issue. Thank you guys so much for joining us today. How are you guys doing?
Good evening.
Good, thank you. So the AGM was supposed to sit on the 6th of September, but this did not happen. What is your view on the postponement of the AGM?
I think the postponement actually is an escaping tactic because PASMA, as it was admitted, has nothing to report. And one thing which we must not forget, when we were speaking about SRC, we were speaking about SASCO and PASMA, because there's a misconception that is only a PASMA SRC. So when we are speaking about such, we must include both PASMA and SASCO.
And for music?
First thing I would say, the postponement is welcome to a certain extent with everything that's happening at campus, the gender-based violence issues. But then again, what went through my mind when I heard about the postponement was, is this just a way for the SRC of this year to try and avoid an AGM because of incomplete reports? Because we do know that they need to table reports at the AGM. That's my only concern. What are they hiding from?
So we do know that for the AGM, the SRC will be telling us and they will be stipulating on the issues in the state of the campus. So from your own personal view, what do you think the state of the campus is currently?
The state of the campus is very dire. Like, it's terrible from all sides, academic sides, political sides, socially, mentally, everything is just a mess, and no one seems to provide a direction from the SRC side, from the management side. Even students themselves, they don't know where to go, who to go to, because the people that are supposed to go to even CSS, where it deals with mental health, people getting there, the waiting list is more than 5,000, more than 500 is clocked. People are being told, are being referred to external psychologists, which require a lot of money. And we as NSPAS beneficiaries can't afford psychologists.
What do you think needs to be done?
What needs to be done is to have this SRC removed completely. Have people from the management who are responsible, or particularly the SDS department, those people to resign and put in new competent people, because what we are dealing now is incompetence of people who are just occupying positions getting paid and not doing any work, and students are suffering at the moment. And also what we need to do is I think students should think better, because what we have been doing is exchanging failure of PASMO with SASCO, exchanging failure of SASCO with PASMO. So we should move away from that. And by saying we should move them on, I'm not giving them EFF and TASO as an alternative, I'm giving them EFF as an alternative, because EFF Student Command has been the only progressive student movement that has been visible this year. Even on June, many of you would know, the EFF is the only organization which had a meal a day. Others just came there giving snacks, DASCO was giving chocolates, SASCO, PASMO was giving ice creams, and that doesn't do anything to uplift the lives of students. So what should be done is to give EFF a chance. Because like even the DASCO representative who's here, this person knows nothing of student governance, student issues, because this is a hockey player who was just recruited this morning before coming in. Now this person comes to represent DASCO, like we must be taken seriously. Like even for myself to be called to speak next to a DASCO cade, I think it's disrespect, because that's just lowers where I stand.
Okay, so wow. What do you have to say on the state of the campus currently?
The current state of campus is quite appalling. We have our current SRC who's not really doing much. We have management installing traffic lights on campus when there are issues that are beyond traffic lights. Look at our residences. We have many issues at residences, such as dysfunctional showers, unhygienic facilities, yet they choose to focus on fixing up entrances and putting traffic lights, which really,
And what do you think has to be done to like a way forward for this?
We need to all work together. At this point, I feel like everyone should put their political differences aside, come together as a team, and brainstorm ideas on a way forward.
Now, on social media platforms like Facebook in particular, they've been calling the SRC constitutional delinquents, and they're saying that the SRC is not respecting the Constitution. What is your take on that? What's your view on that? Do you feel like the SRC has been respecting the Constitution in their term of office?
I feel that the SRC hasn't been doing anything, let alone respecting the Constitution. They've been literally doing nothing, both from the PASMA side and from the SASCO side, because this narrative comes from SASCO, who feel that no, their factional agenda of selling out is not being served by other sellouts who are selling to different handlers. So saying they are constitutional delinquent, I think is actually giving them a title. There's nothing, they are not to be called anything, because they've done absolutely nothing other than wearing suits, attending meetings, not getting back to us as students and tell us, no, this is what you decided, and what everything that they've been doing from the constitutional perspective is not in line. So there's no constitutionalism that is being followed, absolutely no direction.
And for you,
I feel like the Constitution wasn't upheld, especially where the principle of transparency is concerned. We need people in governance who will be transparent with students, tell us where this is going, where that money is going, what are you doing. Up to this point in time, we haven't seen anything like that. I did pay a visit to the UWC SRC page. There is a little bit of transparency, but it's not the transparency that we want to see. They're focusing on posting about money raised at the bash. We don't really, we are not interested in how much money was raised at the bash. We want to know, what are you doing? What constructive things are you doing on campus? And how are you communicating it to the entire campus as well?
Now, before we wrap it up, is there anything that you guys would like to add? Your own 2 cents, what you think of anything, just any matter?
One of the things which I would like to add is for, like, as you said, let students unite for off-campus students, because off-campus students are at the receiving end of everything. Their allowance-wise, food allowance, they are being denied. Safety, students living at Bela, they are being robbed almost each and every day. We're getting reports on Facebook, WhatsApp, emails, and everything. They come to our offices. When we get to the SRC, no one is there. People are at Cuba. We get to management, we are told to set up an appointment. A person gets robbed and can't want and then want me to set up an appointment. By the time I set up an appointment, there's even more cases. When I want to discuss that, I'm being told there's no time. So I think students should really unite and assist the off-campus students. The off-campus students themselves need to organize themselves because, as we are speaking, there's no SRC which is actually advocating for the students. And once one political organization does it, it's like they are pushing their own political agenda. So it's better the students organize themselves like they did in the first day of the shutdown. But now it's said, we've seen there was supposed to be a shutdown today, but everyone is just moving on with life.
Moving on like nothing happened. And for you, anything that you'd like to add?
I totally agree. What I would like to add is for management to take students more seriously. I mean, the director, where is the director? We don't see sideline emails. We need to take the stand in things where it means that we have to miss classes. The time is now.
Okay guys, that's a wrap. We had a very fruitful show. We're gonna go to Word on the Street now. We are not done. We still have to engage with more students. Thank you guys so much for watching the show. It is your girl Via guys, and you guys are signing out. Right guys, we're back at it. I'm standing here with Tabiso and he's going to tell us what he thinks the state of the campus is. What is your view on the state of campus?
My view is on the issue of gender-based violence and rape about to females actually on campus and on nation as a whole. So I think this actually had a huge impact on a lot of people, both males and females. And since Tina Slabe Kembasine, I think Kasi Fumane like support in terms of emotional support, and SRC not doing that much on that issue. So I think for our sisters, girlfriends, and you know. Yeah, and you guys heard from Tabi, so a lot more still has to be done. We're not done. We're still gonna go around asking people and engaging with students what they think the state of the campus is. Hi guys, it's your girl Via guys. We are sitting outside the main hall. It is Word on the Street. We want to know what campus students think of the state of the campus currently. I'm sitting here with Labika and her friends. How are you doing, Labika?
Great, and yourself?
I'm great, thanks. So, what do you think the state of the campus is currently?
I think that with all the gender-based violence that's going on, that us as females feel really unsafe, and it's actually scary because you are afraid to walk alone, even to the bathroom, you have to walk in slack with our friends and stuff like that. We even have to protect ourselves keeping black weapons, and which is weird, and
it really is, because you don't feel safe anyway.
Exactly. And I think that she has a taser.
Guys, she has a taser, a whole taser. This just goes to show how serious the issue is. Do you guys feel safe on campus? Do you guys feel safe around men? What's your take on it?
Speaking to like random males, it's actually weird. Like even if they don't want to harm you, you don't know like what their true intentions are, and it's scary to like speak to them because
you just don't know what the intention might be.
Yeah.
Thank you ladies so much for joining me today for Word on the Street. Right guys, I'm standing here with Delphine and she'll be expressing her view on what she thinks the state of the campus is. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Great. So what is your view on the state of the campus?
So at the moment it's quite disappointing that with everything that's going on around the gender-based violence in our community and society, that the campus has really been silenced. Throughout, we went on holiday because we have a rapid shutdown, but we did not see the leaders that we voted into power doing anything, whether from empowering classes to actually having conversation with women on the safety. We've seen few security members, but I mean it does not guarantee our safety with all the allegations that came up with people being accused of rape. We haven't seen management give a statement about it. The same people, we're still seeing them in our residences, and makes me question as a woman, am I still safe? And then we see the state of having the cameras outside, but yet we do not have cameras in our own residence. What does that say? Are we important to management? Are we important? Are our parents sending us to come and die? Or do they have to wander and call us every day? The moment we don't answer our phones, they have to wander and call our friends to say, is there something wrong? Is anything happening? So it's quite terrifying as a woman to be around this time and be expected to function. We've had trauma with all the events that's been happening with the rape. We've seen off campuses also being affected, but there is no remediation that's happening to say, come guys, let's talk about these issues. How do we find a way forward?